यदा ते मोह कलीलं बुद्धिर्व्यतितरिष्यति तदा गन्तासि निर्वेदं श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च. Hello friends, this is the 52nd shlok of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and in today's video we will understand this shlok in detail. So let's first go over its meaning. So the shlok says Yada te moha kalilam, which means when the quagmire of enchantment you buddhir vyatitarishyati, which means cross by your intellect, tadagantasi nirvedam, which means then you go beyond the Vedas, shrotavyasya shrutasya cha, which means both the speaker and the listener. So, in this shlok and the next shlok, Shri Krishna is again going to be providing the limitations of the religious scriptures and the religious rituals. So, in this shlok, Shri Krishna is telling Arjun that when you come out of the enchantment of this world, then you go beyond the Vedas. Now, Vedas, as we all know, have two aspects to it. The one aspect is the religious ritual aspect, and the other is that Veda is just considered to be the knowledge of humanity in itself. So, you can use both of them in understanding this shlok. Basically, Sri Krishna is telling that when you go beyond the enchantment of this world, then you go beyond the religious rituals and knowledge itself. And since he's saying both the speaker and the listener, so some people in that sense have said that this is with respect to religious rituals. However, in this video, I'm going to be explaining to you not just that aspect but also the knowing aspect of it. So, from the point of view of the religious rituals, it's pretty clear that people perform religious rituals because they want to attain something, they want to gain something for themselves. That's why they perform all the havans or the yagyas. So, if you are performing an action without the desire for any fruit, then of course these religious rituals become completely irrelevant for you, because there is no point for you to really perform them. You don't really need anything from this world, then why perform any religious rituals? So that aspect is quite clear. The other aspect of Veda, which is basically knowledge, that is something which is a little subtle to understand. So, as we have already explained to you that Veda is entire human knowledge, and Ved also actually means the process of knowing itself. Now, if you are someone who has come out of the slumber of the mundane existence in this world, then you will realize that you have gone beyond the process of knowing itself. So, what does this actually mean? I can explain it to you through an example again, because I think that's how this idea can really be given. So, consider the situation right now. So, I'm sitting over here and I'm shooting this video over here. It's California, it is February morning, and you can see that I am wearing this jacket and a woolen hat, and I have a cup of coffee also with me. So, why have I kept all of these things with me? I have kept all of these things with me because it's cold out here. So, when I come from inside to outside, I know that it is going to be cold, and so that's why I prepare for it and I wear this jacket and the hat and things like that. However, my action of performing this whole thing again and again has reinforced in me this idea that I never really open the door and try to check if it is cold or hot or whatever. I know that it is cold, and so I wear this and then only I come out. So I consider it to be an absolute truth that February morning it is going to be cold outside. However, if, say, for some example, there is an volcanic explosion in Indonesia which changes the weather all around the earth, and it is no longer cold in the morning of February for, say, 10 years in California, then the fact that I used to consider an absolute truth, the thing that it is going to be cold outside, is no longer true. And so what I used to consider as an absolute truth turned out to be just my assumption. So this is what actually happens to us all the time, where when we know something, we sort of assume that this is absolute truth. We have now known the absolute truth. This is something which is true all the time. But in fact, the truth is that it's not an absolute truth. It's just an assumption which depends on a lot of other external factors. And if those other external factors will change, then the assumption that I have is also going to change. So, this is what applies to any knowing as such. Whenever we know something, we know it in a limited sense, and if we consider it to be absolute knowledge, then we limit ourselves to just that part of the fact. So we just limit ourselves to that assumption in itself. So this process of knowing basically limits our own thought. We consider some assumption to be an absolute truth, and therefore we become limited. This is the reason why Hindu thinks that Hindu religious scriptures or Hindu way of thinking is the best. The Muslim thinks that the Islamic way of thinking is the absolute truth. The Christian thinks that the Christian way of thinking is absolute truth. An atheist thinks that an atheist way of looking at world is the absolute truth. All of these actually are just point of views which are based on certain observations that have been carried out by these individuals. The absolute truth in itself is something which is beyond that, and only a person who is open to new ideas can really open himself up to basically expand his own way of thinking and his existence in itself. So that's why limiting yourselves to just knowing is something which will bind you down, and that is why Shri Krishna over here is telling that once you come out of the enchantment of this world, then you go beyond knowing itself. Then you are free. You are not bound by just one knowledge in itself. You know that this knowledge is unbounded, and that's why you should never bind yourselves down to just one way of thinking. So I hope that I have explained this shlok well to you. With that, I'll close this video. I'll see you all on the next video. Take care.